Hello everyone, what's up? Again, Concepts in Kabbalah, a weekly session. And today's topic is going to be about gratitude, which I think it's like a very good topic at the moment with everything that goes on around the world. And anyway, it's on the list, so we're going according to the list, but it's still nice. Okay, so let's talk about gratitude. So usually what we think of when we think of gratitude is that we receive what we deserve or what we want, and we feel happy. And we give thanks to the Creator or to the upper force or to others for what we have. And of course that this is like an egoistical kind of gratitude, just like in religions, for example, and that you give thanks for the food you have, for your family, for your health, for whatever, but that's not exactly spiritual gratitude. And in order to understand that, we need to dive a bit deeper. Okay, so we know that the goal of creation is that a person, and when we say a person, we can refer to the spiritual potential, like a spiritual seed that is locked inside a shell, which is called the ego, or the will to receive, that actually cuts him, like creates like a gap between that person and the rest of the field. And this general field of which the person or the spiritual seed was actually cut off from is called the Creator or the upper force or the light. And this light, its quality is to bestow, meaning it has no desire for itself. It's the absolute good, like abundance that fills everything, just like light or water, okay, in our world. And in our world, or what we call our world, meaning the reality that we perceive in our five senses, I got confused, just a second, in which we somehow digest and create an output, which we call our world. This is like a corrupted image or an illusion of the real reality which is outside of us. And this illusion is created by the ego, that creates this illusion of us being cut from others, us as the center of reality, us as above reality, as reality that is meant to serve it, and so we just want to observe everything. And of course that we're like a cancerous cell in this general body. Good. Now, as I've said, in this picture, usually in religion or in regular life, we feel gratitude when we have some kind of egoistic deficiency and receive some kind of fulfillment. Okay, so if we got money, or we have a job, or we have a family, or whatever, or a home, so we give gratitude. And if something good happens to us, we naturally feel gratitude, even if we don't say it. Okay. Now, of course, that this is not the state that we talk about here, because this is a state in which this cancerous cell actually gets energy and grows. And this is a big question, because on one hand, we know that we need to evolve out of good, meaning that we cannot raise children only from beating them or giving them negative stuff, but we need to create all kinds of sweet, softened stuff. That's why a baby, when he grows up, he has this natural love of the family. The world doesn't demand of him nothing, just gives him everything. Everybody relates to him as cute and adorable. Doesn't matter if he's like a mini terrorist or whatever. And we give them sweet stuff and stuff like that. So so we need this positive support in order to grow, on one hand. On the other hand, this positive support in our ego creates death. Okay, it's like sugar. Okay, so it's sweet, but it creates a lot of health problems and it can bring us to death in the end. Okay, and we have a lot of examples like that in our world. So what can we do, or how can we relate to gratitude in its correct state? Okay, so in Kabbalah, what we say is that a person needs to reveal this ego and determine on his own that this ego is something bad. You cannot come to a person and say, hey, you're egoistic. He doesn't feel that. He doesn't feel that, so he doesn't recognize that. He would go like, me? No, I'm helping everybody. I'm paying my taxes. I'm a good citizen. I don't know, I didn't kill anybody, didn't do anything, nothing wrong to anyone. Okay, so a person needs to come to this recognition on his own. How can he come to that? By attempting to connect to others, to connect to this general field, to this general light, through his connection with others that want to attain the same goal. And when he tries to love others as he loves himself, and they try to, then he reveals how incapable of doing that. How he's incapable of doing that, meaning that he doesn't have the energy or the fuel or the ability to actually rise above his own nature or to attain a state of love. He cannot come to that. Because everything he does is according to a calculation, what will I get out of it, and how good or bad does it causes me. Okay, so first a person needs to reveal that his ego is actually preventing him from attaining the Creator, which is the general field and which is being attained through the connection with others. Okay, this is the first step. Then the second step is that a person starts to, through his practice, spiritual practice in Kabbalah, he starts to attain or feel what does it mean to exist inside of the system, above his ego. What does it mean to exit to another reality which is above his five senses, okay? And when a person does that, he starts to have some kind of a flavor of what does it mean to connect to others, to feel this eternal love, to be in adhesion with the Creator, okay? And this is the second condition, you can say. And when you have these two conditions, then you can start talking about spiritual gratitude, meaning when a person feels that he actually exit his own ego, rose above it, and is now one with the general system, with the Creator, with this force of life that exists and holds all of nature, okay? And this is a very interesting state, because actually, when a person attains that, in his own egoistic vessels, he can feel sometimes even bad, or he can be a very bad state, let's say like this virus, or having some kind of health problem in the family, or God knows what, okay? And still above this individual state, a person is fulfilled with gratitude, because this state allowed him to suppress his ego, step upon it and exit to the sensation of the general system. And this is a very complex and interesting state in which a person feels spiritual gratitude, meaning gratitude from bestowing, from resisting his own ego, from rising above his own natural, beastly heart and mind. Okay? Okay, I think that's like, in the terms of explanation, at least theoretically, I think that's more or less understood. That was more or less understood. I think I pronounced it correctly, right? Like in grammatical kind of way in English. But in practice it's a bit more complicated, because again, this spiritual gratitude in many cases requires the ego to be out of the equation, meaning not to be fulfilled in many cases. And so how can I rise above the emptiness that I feel when I don't get what I want and still feel gratitude in that, and not being like a hypocrite or lying to myself? This is a tricky thing, okay? But again, spirituality is a bit complex, otherwise everybody would attain it. Okay, so let's see if we have questions so far. So hello, good morning, good afternoon. Hello from North Carolina, Miami, New York, Los Angeles. Well, hello to you too, but no questions. Okay, so if you have no questions, let's maybe read a bit. Okay. True gratitude for the Creator. You say that it is impossible to thank the Creator when I am crying. What does this mean? Okay, this is what we said, that a person sometimes feels empty in his own egoistical vessels, and so how can he give gratitude to the Creator? Answer: I cannot cry from pain and simultaneously thank the one who causes me this pain. The sensation of pain suggested that you cannot thank him. You might be doing this, but superficially. You understand and are aware of this in your mind, but not in the feelings. You need to work on your feelings so that you can feel pleasure instead of pain, while correcting the egoism. If the obstruction comes from the Creator, then it should be turned into happiness, joy, and pleasure. This is what we are engaged in. This is the correction of our kelim. But as long as you feel at least some flow in your state, it is not called that you thank the Creator. In principle, He does not need to be thanked. When you feel good, this is your unconscious gratitude to Him. And if you also attribute this to Him, then it is complete gratitude. It's very simple. Okay, so it's very simple, but again, it could be a bit complex, because what actually happens here? So, in a true state, you cannot feel pain in your ego and feel gratitude in your spiritual vessels, okay? So, there are two levels here. One is that you need to feel good in your recognition. You need to determine consciously that it comes from Him, this state, and that the pain that you suffered was like symptom, it was like how do you say that? Madad. Well, I knew this word. How do you say madad? Like, let me check. Google Translate. Yeah, like indicator maybe. Can I say indicator? Index? No, it's not an index. Yeah, maybe like an indicator or something, that it indicates to you, the pain that you sense indicates how far are you from the balance with nature, meaning how much are you out of balance, and so you feel this pain. So first of all, you need in recognition consciously to justify the state. Actually give thank for the fact that you feel this darkness, this emptiness, this pain, because it shows you how, your true state. So this is the first level, in recognition. And then in the second level, when you correct your state, then you bring also your true feeling, your heart, to a state in which you can give complete gratitude, meaning in mind and in heart, okay? So it's like a two-step process here, because most of the spiritual the evolution is a conscious evolution, okay? So you need to come to that in recognition of the state. It's very similar to what we have between a parent and a child, that a child which is deprived from candy hates the parent, and then later on he needs consciously to understand why is it bad for him, although the sugar is sweet and tasty, and he still wants it physically, but like consciously understands that and justify the parent, and only later on he actually come to a state that he is naturally rejected from sugar, because he understands how bad it is for him, and so he finds pleasure in being sugar free. Okay, maybe that's an example. Yeah, well, hopefully this is understood. Teddy is asking, can we fake it until we make it? Do we need to verbalize the words thank you? Well, this is a hard question. I'll tell you why is it a hard question. It's true that we're playing the corrected state until we attain that, and that's why we always need to practice the fact that we determine that everything comes from the Creator, and it comes for a good purpose, meaning to bring us back to balance with nature on one hand. On the other hand, a person needs to be careful from believing the lie, meaning that from trying to say thank you to the Creator, I actually believe that I'm thanking Him. So you need to play in that, you need to fake it, but you need to consciously be aware that you're faking it, that it's still not true. As long as in your true vessels you still don't feel pleasure. Until you come to, and it's very hard, because how can a child know what is a real state before he ever reached one, okay? So until you come to at least your first spiritual state in which you can actually say, okay, this is a state in which I'm completely above my egoistical vessel, and I feel life in this state, and I feel what is this life in connection with others, in being part of the system. Now I can understand what I didn't have before. Okay, I hope this is helpful. Again, it's not so trivial. Okay, more questions? Everybody is saying shalom and hello. So shalom and hello to you too. But no questions. Okay, so if you have no questions, let's maybe do another article. Okay, so in the link I pasted, you have the second link is from, it's an article of Bala Sulam. We have time for that. Okay, but showing it like this, I'm hiding part of it. Let me try. Okay. So, one's future depends and is tied to the gratitude for the past. Okay, this is from 1943. It is written, "The Lord is high and the low will see," that only the low can see the greatness. The letters Yakar in Hebrew, precious, are the letters Yakir, will know, meaning precious and will know. It's like a game of letters. It means that one knows the greatness of a thing to the extent that it is precious to one. One is impressed according to the importance of the thing. The impression brings one to a sensation in the heart, and according to the measure of one's recognition of the importance, to that extent joy is born in him. Okay, so this is how we are programmed. If I see something as great, as precious, then I will have joy in receiving it. Okay, that should be clear to everyone. And actually, so you can say, okay, so let's say that each one of us is like a will to receive. We want to receive pleasure, but we don't know what is pleasure, what will bring us good, or what will make us feel good. Will it be food, or candies, or money, or pride, or being an actress, or being a doctor, or being a politician, or living in the States, or living in South America, or in Israel? What will make me happy, okay? And the answer to this question is given to society. What do I mean by society? That to the values that I'm being programmed according to since the moment that I'm being born, through my education, my parents, the media, and whatever. Okay, but once something is important for me, to be famous, to be a dancer, to be a writer, I don't know what, to be an athlete, then from that moment onwards, that thing, if I have it, brings me joy, and if I don't, makes me miserable, okay? So that should be clear, more or less. Okay. Thus, if one knows one's lowness, that one is not more privileged than one's contemporaries, I hope I pronounce it right, meaning that one sees that there are many people in the world who are not giving the strength to work the holy work, even in the simplest of ways, even without the intent and in not for her name, meaning that a person sees that other people don't even have any need to attain something which is called the Creator. They don't even ask if they are in balance or imbalance with nature. They don't ask themselves, why am I living for? Is there a higher purpose, some kind of goal to my life? Am I realizing who I need to be truly? Even in an egoistic way, okay, this is what he's saying here, even in Lo Lishma of Lo Lishma, even in an egoistic way, they don't ask himself, is there something better to life? And even in preparation for the preparation of the clothing of Kedusha, of sanctity, while he was imparted the desire and the thought to nevertheless occasionally do holy work, even in the simplest possible way. If one can appreciate the importance of it, according to the importance that one ascribes to the holy work, to that extent one should give praise and be grateful for it, okay? So to the extent that I can give, that I can be thankful for the fact that I even got these questions, that I even got this chance to somehow do something to rise above my ego, to connect to something higher than me, something more eternal. If I can see that as important, I can be the happiest man even before I attain anything, just by being part of it. This is so because it is true that we cannot appreciate the importance of being able to sometimes keep the mitzvot, meaning the rules of the Creator, even without any intent. In that state, one comes to feel elation and joy of the heart, okay? So even if I'm still consciously didn't attain this state, but I'm attempting to to do that. I'm playing in that. I'm like a small child wanting to attain that. And this is important to me. Then in that I can feel joy. And the praise and the gratitude that one gives for it expand the feelings. And one is elated by every single point in the holy work, and knows whose worker he is, and thus soars ever higher. This is the meaning of what is written, I thank thee for the grace that you thou hast made me, meaning for the past. And by this one can confidentially say, and he does say, and that thou will do with me. Okay, so this is very important, the ability to justify the past in the present allows one to rise from the present to a higher future, okay? And this is very important, because this is like a chain. There is no time here, because there is no time in spirituality. But it's like a chain of cause and effect, okay? So if you, using the past, we have nothing but the present, okay? We have this single moment of the present. And we can use it in the best way by rising ourselves to a state in which we connect ourselves with the system, with nature, with the laws. And if we do that consciously, or attempting to do that, we can justify, or at least try to justify, everything that was and everything that is, and try to determine that it is part of the best and the most merciful process that brings us into shlemut. How do you say shlemut? Into the complete state, into the most perfect state. And it's not in words that one does that, or thinking that it is like that. One needs to do that internally. And he can do that only by rising above his ego and exiting it. Because in the ego, doesn't matter what we'll have, we will never be content. So the egoistical approach always leaves a person uncontent, meaning always in some kind of crawl or some kind of claim towards the Creator, towards nature, towards how he was treated on what one has. And so this is like an indication, that's the word I looked for previously. So this is like an indication, pain or claim or being unsatisfied. It's like an indication to the imbalance with nature, to the control of the ego on oneself. And so one needs to rise above it, and only by that can he justify everything truly in his consciously and internally. And by doing that, he allows nature to raise him to the next degree. This is called that the future is guaranteed. That's what we read. Okay, let's see if we have questions. So, shalom, 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 shalom. From Ecuador, from Los Angeles, shalom everybody. But no questions. Greetings. We have also greetings, not only shalom. Okay, but still no questions. Okay, so if we have no questions, we have one question from Teddy. What are emotions or feelings according to Kabbalah? How to process? Emotions or feelings are a result of many factors. You can say that it's a result of a chemical process, but more internally, it's like, in the end, what a person has in his heart and his mind, it's a result. It's a result from a network of forces that is being assembled, or is assembled in a person in a way that he's a result of that. He's like a mirror of this array of forces, or this balance of forces. So it's true that sometimes you can give someone a shot or give him to smoke something and his feeling changes. So we don't consider so much feelings or thoughts. We'll look on them with as an indicator, as I explained before, but not more than that. But the attempt is always to try to rise to a higher level, to a higher connection with others, and through that to a higher connection with the system and with the Creator. And by that, of course, that both the feelings and the sensations and the ideas and understanding, everything changes. You can compare the feeling of a 4-year-old to a feelings of a 40-year-old. Hello from Central Africa. Hello to you too. Okay, thumbs up. So thank you very much for being around and asking questions. Take care, be healthy, and hopefully see you next time, next week, if things won't get worse. Bye-bye for now.